How's it going, Martians? This is Jade, back with another Martian report, and this one we're going over a CCN article. Before we even begin, yes, it's FUD. Oh, it's so FUD. It's the fuddiest FUD. But you know, it's always fun to bust some FUD. So, this article is titled, "Is Ripple Decentralized or Not? A Blockchain Expert Ends the Debate." Oh, I can't wait. This guy's going to talk about how Bitcoin has its mining power consolidated between three mining companies, all based out of China. He's going to talk about how Ripple has convinced many of its partners to operate their own nodes so that there can be cooperation amongst the major financial institutions of the world to create a decentralized network that works for all of them so they don't have to be at each other's throats. He's going to talk about how one of these systems is going to progress towards an ever more centralized ecosystem through the ever improved methods of mining, while the other one's just going to continue to become more decentralized due to more institutions adopting and becoming validators on the network. Oh, it's going to be great, right? No, he's not. He's not, because this is a CCN article, and we all know that CCN is run by a bunch of Bitcoin maxi pads. So, before we even begin, I'm going to apologize to everybody. Apparently, Kirill here, who, let's find out how long he's been writing articles here. How long you been here? Let's go to your first article here, Kirill. How long have you been in the... Oh, okay. Well, your first article was May 6th, 2019. So, I guess I can give you an out in the fact that you're apparently brand new to covering cryptocurrency news. So I'm gonna give you an out this time, Kirill. I'm gonna pretend that nobody in the XRP community has corrected you about the difference between Ripple Labs and the XRP Ledger. So to all of my viewers out there, please, let's just be kind to Kirill here, all right? He doesn't know. None of you have told him yet, all right? You can go over here on Twitter, though, just kindly inform Kirill that there is a distinction between Ripple Labs and XRP Ledger, and that XRP is not ever referred to as Ripple other than by Bitcoin maximalists who are trying to conflate the two so that they can sell a narrative that XRP, the digital asset we all hold, is centralized by, once again, conflating this decentralized asset we hold with the centralized organization called Ripple Labs, right? Okay, we're gonna get into the article now that I've gotten the warning out of the way, right? I'm gonna try and read through this and only address the most extreme of issues. If I try to actually address all the issues in this article, this video is going to be over a half hour, like the first take of it, and I was like, whoa, nobody wants to listen to a half hour of FUD busting, no matter how entertaining it is, right? So let's jump straight into this, and I'm just going to hit on the major inconsistencies and falsehoods created and try to be as concise as possible. So, Ripple fans adamantly preach that the cryptocurrency runs on a decentralized network, XRP, but I digress. A quick search of the term Ripple Decentralized on Twitter reveals hordes of accounts claiming that the standard is decentralized in nature. Many are even ganging up in an attempt to prove their point. So here we have somebody made a tweet where they promote a bunch of altcoins and then just put Ripple and don't have anything nice to say about it, which obviously is going to implant the narrative in somebody's head to say, oh, well, if everybody's out here making fun of all these other coins for their thing, how about we stop making fun of XRP for being decentralized? But this person put Ripple in their comment because they're smart, they understand human psychology and implanting a false narrative in somebody's head so that they can create a red herring argument. And thus, XRPTibot here, unfortunately, didn't take that into consideration when just casually tweeting out Ripple is decentralized. Ripple Labs isn't decentralized, but XRP is. But this guy, Tunes here, he understands human psychology at least to enough of a degree to understand how to create a false narrative, right? So, in addition, the chief technology officer of Ripple Labs, David Schwartz, wrote an article claiming that the XRP ledger is more decentralized than Bitcoin and Ethereum, to the delight of Ripple supporters. If you examine the article, however, it seems the Ripple Labs executive attacked the two largest cryptocurrencies to make Ripple look good without addressing the core issue of decentralization. Thus, to the average Joe, the article may pose more questions than answers. Nevertheless, we spoke to a blockchain specialist to get to the bottom of the decentralization issue. Hearing his point was not surprising. So, I was like, wait, David Schwartz made an article bashing Bitcoin and Ethereum? Really? So I came over to the article he linked. The inherently decentralized nature of, not Ripple, but the XRP ledger. I don't think he actually mentions Ripple at all in here. Does he? Ripple? Yeah, 150 validators. Ripple runs only 10. Okay. Well, that's totally a centralized network there. Ripple running 10 of the 150 validator nodes. It's totally centralized, guys. So centralized. A lot better than Bitcoin over here with... Okay, so it's now 4 mining groups who control 58% of the Bitcoin mining network. So, and 3 mining pools control 57% of Ethereum. I mean, why are you butthurt about statistics, dude? Like, that's just fact. So, again, I don't want to waste all day on this, but David Schwartz isn't attacking Ethereum or Bitcoin. He's just pointing out statistical facts, objective, verifiable facts, and how these systems differentiate from each other, how they're different from each other. That's all he's doing. He's not attacking the network. He's just pointing out a fact. And Kirill here can't take that. Kirill just is butthurt. And he's raging and trying to conflate Ripple with XRP constantly. I think he just does it because he knows that it triggers a lot of people out there. But I just like to make fun of people who can't differentiate between it because, it makes me feel a little bit smarter that I actually know the difference between Ripple and XRP. It's just a nice little ego boost when there's someone stupid enough to actually regularly conflate the two. Even if it's intentional. I'm just assuming that he's a dumbass. that's just how I operate. If somebody doesn't put out something that's true, I just assume that they're an idiot who doesn't know that what they've said is not true, right? I'd rather give everybody the benefit of the doubt. There's not a bunch of deceitful people out in the world. They're all just a bunch of idiots. That's a lot better. It's a lot better to call somebody dumb than to say that they're, a deceitful piece of crap, right? Oh, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'd just rather be thought of as dumb than deceitful, personally, But at any rate, to jump into the position of our blockchain expert here, Matt McKibben. Matt is the founder of and chief decentralization officer at Decentranet. Now, Decentranet, for those of you who don't know, Decentranet over here has been making articles since apparently July of 2017 and has partnered with a relatively fair few companies. So they're not, it's actually most likely a legitimate group. I don't know, but their website seems pretty legit, and they seem to have listed a fair few names who I recognize, most notably SingularityNet, right? And DAOstack. Point is, Decentranet here is a company whose purpose is to bring blockchain projects to life by creating partnerships and connecting entrepreneurs to investors. Thus, the executive knows a thing or two about decentralized blockchains. Well, I would hope that as the founder and chief decentralization officer, never knew that was an official title that you could give somebody. Well, I guess when you're the founder of a company, you get to make up titles, right? Well, at any rate, also I want to point out that this guy is his job, the purpose of his company is to connect entrepreneurs, aka blockchain companies, to investors, aka you, listener, you and me. This guy's trying to connect us to these companies. What does that mean? It means that this gentleman wants to convince you to invest in his clients, Singularity Net, Nano, and potentially in the companies who have partnered with him. That's what that means. So when you understand the man's position and what the purpose of his company is, you can clearly see his incentive to fabricate a narrative that sells to you, viewer, the companies he is working with, which means that he's going to actively promote the systems utilized by those companies, aka proof of work, to those in his circle. So now that we've got that little clarification out of the way, we're going to read through what apparently Mr. McKibben said here. Now I say apparently because the way Kirill here quotes is not how you quote people, but his first few here are good. His first two quotes are actually full sentence quotes, but afterwards, it gets really kind of fishy. So that's why I say apparently. I'm not really certain. At any rate, when Matt spoke to CCN and shared his stance on whether Ripple is decentralized or not, he said, Ripple is centralized. I agree, Ripple is centralized. Not XRP, though. It is basically a way for banks and large financial institutions to trade on a distributed ledger. I agree, it is a distributed ledger. That's because it's decentralized. It is decentralized through the distribution of its validator nodes. Thank you for agreeing with us, Matt. But he also claims that it can be rolled back at any time. Well, actually, that's false. Absolutely false. Because every validator on the network would have to agree to the rollback, or it doesn't happen. And guess what? That's not going to happen when Ripple controls, when Ripple only controls 7% of the validators here. To continue. This ledger is managed, according to Matt here, by the Ripple Foundation and is not a decentralized network. Well, once again, we can go here to validators, to the validator registry at xrpcharts.ripple.com/hash/validators and see that Ripple only has 10 validators running of the 150 listed here. So definitely not centralized. Definitely not managed and controlled by the Ripple Foundation. Do continue. Decentranet founder added also that Ripple is inherently centralized as power rests solely in the hands of the Ripple Foundation. Well, yeah, Ripple is run by Ripple. The company's going to run itself. That's like saying the dollar... Well, okay, we all know the dollar is controlled by a centralized organization, the Fed, right? But this individual is trying to imply that just because Amazon is a centralized company, that it's got centralized control over the dollar which it uses. It doesn't. It doesn't. It just uses it. It just holds a lot of them, Amazon holds a lot of US dollars. Doesn't mean that they control the US dollar, all right? They don't. That's controlled by an entity outside of them. And in Amazon's case, the dollar is controlled by the American government. In Ripple's case, the XRP ledger is controlled by a delegation of financial institutions who have agreed to run validator nodes for the purpose of decentralizing this network who they're all operating through or intend to operate through. At any rate, Matt claims that this is useful for large financial institutions. However, that it is not something that benefits the decentralized financial ecosystem long term. What are you talking about? The financial ecosystem is not decentralized at all. RippleNet is the most decentralized thing to actually be integrated into the financial ecosystem in the history of the financial ecosystem. So you're blowing smoke up somebody's butt. Whose? Because it's sure not mine. Or is he blowing smoke up your butt, viewer? Well, to further explain his point, Matt goes on to talk about the qualities that make up a decentralized network. And here's where these quotes just get stupid, right? Like, who quotes 5 words that for all we know, they're out of context? We don't have the full statement at any point in this, right? He doesn't share that anywhere. It's not a fully shared statement. Instead, we have to trust that Kirill here is being honest when he takes this little quote and he says that to be considered a decentralized network, anyone should be able to use the network at any point in time. Well, I have never had any issue accessing the XRP ledger in the over year now that I've been using it to store my value through, investing in the ecosystem. And I've never had any problem transferring my XRP anywhere. And it's always done virtually instantaneously, as opposed to the Bitcoin or Ethereum networks that takes several minutes. Sometimes I've had to wait hours for transactions on the Bitcoin network because it was congested, but I digress. Matt also goes on to stress that decentralized systems have mining or another form supporting the network. Well, we all know that Bitcoin and Ethereum are mined, and XRP Ledger has another method of supporting the network called consensus. So the top honcho also said that for decentralized currencies and financial ecosystem, miners are the core component, and each system has its own modality to determine how much power and influence each miner may yield. Well, that's one way. That's a proof of work method of validating your network. Or you could just use a Merkle tree, which burns a small, virtually insignificant amount of XRP from each transaction made on the network to ensure that you do not have double spend attacks. Wow. Well, at least he tried. He tried to sell you that mining is the only way to validate a decentralized system, right? At any rate, as mentioned, Ripple Foundation manages the distributed ledger. There are no miners or validators running the blockchain. Really? There's no validators running the blockchain. What is this? What are those? All 150 of these. What? There's no validators running it? Is this guy wow. Like he paints around the truth in this whole article, and then in the second to last paragraph, blatant outright lie that you have to be a complete novice, somebody that knows absolutely nothing at all to believe. Okay, gotta get through this. We're almost done with this futtery. He continues on to say, more importantly, the Ripple Foundation pre-mined the crypto token XRP. A total of 100 billion XRP were released, but 63 billion are owned by Ripple Labs. No, it's not 63 billion that they own. It's actually closer to 58 billion, but, what's 5 billion XRP? At any rate, these qualities alone make Ripple highly centralized, as there is one power that oversees the network and the supply of XRP. No. Because there's, first off, 37 billion coins that are not in the possession or control of Ripple Labs, and 48 billion of those coins are locked away in escrow where only 1 billion of those becomes available every month. And before they gain access to that 1 billion, they have to lock away whatever they didn't sell from the previous month. So no, they don't control the supply. And while they are working to see their network grow, the XRP ledger grow and be adopted, they don't rule over it with an iron fist because they don't have the ability to when they only control 7% of the ledger. So no, it's like you're just creating a bunch of garbage out here. And at any rate, we'll finish this up. Let's just see what he has to finish here, right? So also, since the Ripple Foundation wields power over the network, which they don't, the ledger can be rolled back at any time according to Matt, which it can't. On the contrary, decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are immutable. This means that once data enters the blockchain, it can never be changed unless someone with a huge amount of energy and resource for a 51% attack. Oh, well, just so happens that there is 4 mining groups, all in China, who control over 51% of the mining power. That sounds like the potential for a 51% attack to me! Oh, well, this is too expensive and highly unlikely. Really, is it expensive? Because the purpose of a 51% attack is to drain value from a network. So if you have the means to do so, there is an incentive to do so, in that you will be able to forge transactions in a way that allows you to extract wealth from that network. Well, at any rate, we get the conclusion that therefore it's clear that Ripple is a centralized network. No, Ripple Labs is a centralized company that is developing protocol systems and software for the decentralized XRP ledger network. Well, I guess he did solve the debate here, right? He proved that anybody out there trying to claim that Ripple or the XRP is... He's got me saying Ripple now. We've found proof that the only argument against Ripple's centralization, of XRP's centralization rather, is coming from individuals who are trying to conflate Ripple with XRP and intentionally spread false statements like there are no validators running the blockchain when it's literally right here, right there, right? Like, this is why nobody trusts anybody in the world, because there's no freaking justice being brought down upon individuals out there spreading such fucking bullcrap. I hope you've enjoyed this FUD busting. It's a decently long video, but nonetheless, always important to, set the record straight, right? So thank you all for tuning in, and tell everybody out there the debate is settled. Ripple Labs is a centralized company, and XRP is a decentralized network. End of debate. So thank you all for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe and ring that bell so you can stay up to date with all Ripple and XRP related content, where I bust the FUD, break the news, and help you be informed about your investment in this digital asset revolution which we are all partaking in. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Please hit that like if you enjoyed my content. Leave a comment in the comment section below, letting me know what you thought of this article, what you think on my take, whether you agree or disagree. I read all my comments, or try to get to all of them. The comment section is starting to get a little bit out of hand for me to keep up with everybody, but I do my best because I appreciate each and every last one of you who takes the time to watch my content. So thank you all, and I can't wait to see all of you in my next video on Mars.